Do you want to save thousands of dollars a year on your film or your ink for your inkjet printer to produce your films? Then stick around. We'll show you how to install a CISS kit for your Epson 1430 coming up. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. I've been waiting to do this review / install of the CISS kit because I wanted to just kind of put it through its paces. And I will say that we have saved a lot of money over this past year of having the CISS kit. We were spending $100 for 100 pieces of 13 by 19 film. We've reduced that down to 51 cents. Also, we were spending about $1 per print. Now we're spending about 5 cents in ink per print. So that comes out to a total of about 56 cents per film versus $2. I'm going to show you how to install this kit. I've been very happy with it, which is why I'm sharing this with you guys. Oh, let's see, I filmed this back in November. So without further ado, here we are. So here is the kit itself. This particular kit came with all black inks. Every single one of these are all black. I think they said something along the lines of doing 2,000 prints. Here is what is in the box. We got some instructions here on how to fill it, and then we got some more information there. Here's a bunch of little syringes, imagined to help prime the system and or fill it up. Here's the little cartridge system here, little ink cartridges. Let's go ahead and install this thing. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is power up your printer, let it go through its motions, and then as soon as it's finished, you want to hit the ink button, so that way it will go to the cartridge replacement position, whatever you want to call it. Unplug the power cord. That will allow you to move the print head back and forth, so that way we can remove this door. So take your ink cartridges, set them aside, toss them in the garbage, recycle them, do what you're going to do with them. I saved mine just in case I decide I want to use them again in the future, basically. I'm using a screwdriver to pry this left hinge, and then the right hinge is going to be a real pain in the butt to remove. It might take you a little bit. If you really don't care about it, I mean, I wouldn't suggest breaking it off, but just take some time to remove it, and you can kind of see here how it comes apart. This little clip I did end up putting back. Alright, so in this part here, I'm basically priming the system, and I'm using a thumbtack to remove those little plastic plugs, and that will allow you to suck all the air out of the cartridges and completely fill them up. And then I'm using the syringe to replace the ink back into the system. Now, I didn't show me filling up the system or the tanks itself because I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so this is pretty important. You have to move your print head over to the left-hand side. Put your cartridges down into their slots, the print head. I didn't completely lock them in, so that way if I need to make some adjustments I can. I found that this is a pretty good position here for this particular, the line holder for the CSI, the tubes, whatever you want to call it. So this is where I put it, and I'll show you guys here in a little bit an updated version of how I currently have it, but it's very similar. The only difference is how I run the lines to that particular part I'm passing with my finger right now. So I'll show you that in a little bit, but this is a pretty good startup point. Here how it is currently set up. The only difference is I did have this bottom part up top, so it is kind of looping down, but it does not touch the bottom rollers or the bottom of the printer, and this setup works pretty well. Now, you do want to keep in mind, as you guys can see, I put my tanks behind my printer, and you want to be careful not to raise those up above the ink cartridges themselves, because if you do set it up towards where your tanks are above, it can leak out because there's all that pressure forcing it down. And then right there, that was a close-up of a little cutout I did of one of the pieces of the printer. I cut it out so that way I can completely close the lid without pinching those off, and then there's the second piece right there that's kind of holding it down. And at this point, I'm just locking those down into their slots. You want to make sure they're secure. At this point, we're pretty much ready to go. You can turn your printer on, and then you will need to do a couple clean cycles. And at this point, you know, having such an affordable system, it's not an issue. Initially, don't freak out. This happened to me. If it is saying that it's not recognizing the cartridges, just pull them up. Some of these systems do have a reset button. You can just hit that, but just pull them up just a little bit and then reset them back down into there. So don't freak out if you feel like, okay, my printer's not recognizing them. Just pull them up, push them back down, and then hit the ink button, and it will completely clear. Same thing goes for when your printer thinks that it's out of ink, is you'll just pull the whole system up and out, or hit the reset button if your CISS kit does have a reset button. Now here I'm actually doing the head clean, and you can see how much wasted ink is coming out. And by the way, I have a tutorial coming up showing how to install one of those waste tanks. And then the last and final step is to install these filters, these vent filters. They only go in one way. So I cut down a piece of 8.5 by 11 film from our pieces of film that we normally get that are 13 by 19. Be sure to check our link down in the description, so that way you can get the film that we are using. It's very inexpensive, works really well. Now let's see how our inexpensive CISS kit works on this inexpensive piece of film. So here's the film at 720. And to me, looking at it through the light, you still see some light through 10 on the 720. We'll put this on a screen and on the exposure unit. Here is the test at my normal settings, 1440 by 720. I generally go with 6. This ink is a little less opaque. However, I think 8 doesn't look too bad. There's not too much ink down on 8. 9, 10, 11, 12. Starts to be way too much. You can still see the sun through it a little bit, but you can also see that it's just running off. Now for the real test. How will it hold up in blocking UV light for our film for screen printing? Let's see how it does. Okay, I have some assorted test prints ready to go, and we'll see what does the best as far as the drop waitlet, and then what setting tends to work the best for doing halftones as well. Okay, I ganged up as many as I could on the screen. Let's go ahead and expose this. Okay, so here are the results. This is the 720 by 720. As you can see, 1 through 3 really didn't wash out. As we flip this around, we have our 1440 by 720. Washed out really well from 2 on up to 15. However, the test that I am interested in, this one is at a 6, the 1440. Maybe hard to see. There's some of those 95% dots. Not too great. However, coming down into the 5s, it's kind of splotchy, very pattern-like. I don't like. Here is the 12 setting for the 720 by 720. Not all the 5% dots are there. Everything else looks great. 90 is a little iffy. 95. It's hardly holding on to them. The one I think that came out the best was, oddly enough, the one that was set at 11 for 720 by 720. There's more of the 95% dots. Everything else is looking pretty solid. And then, actually, you know what? Very splotchy in the 5s here as well. There we go, 12. So 12, this one seems to look the best. It's kind of iffy on those 95% dots, but maybe I could expose it a little longer to get some of those back. But there's more of the 5% dots, which is quite peculiar. So I think I'm going to go with the 720 setting at 12. So that will help speed up my printouts, and I'll get the best quality possible. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Don't miss out on our video showing how to install a waste tank, which will also save you some money because you can take that wasted ink from your CISS kit and put that right back into those tanks. I hope this will help you save money on your film output. Until next time, guys, we will see you later.